Hey everyone, I gotta show you guys this awesome group I got with this Radical Firearms AR-15 16-inch barrel. At 100 yards, I'm inside of half an inch. Okay, 3 shots, almost touching. I think 2 of them are touching. Inside of 100 yards. Okay, the ammunition I used was this Federal Premium Sierra Match King. Okay, ammunition really makes a difference, right? Because inside of a half an inch at 100 yards, I was shooting it earlier with this junk here from Aguila. Okay, I was getting something like 4 inches at 50 yards. Okay, 3-4 inches at just at 50 yards. So ammunition. The ammunition is probably more important than whose name is on the rifle. Okay, I've shot this before. I think with target ammo, I think I've gotten pretty close to 2 inches, 2.5 inches. This rifle over here, I really love it. But this is almost a beater rifle in the sense that it's like it's my standard go-to rifle for training beginners. The thing I love about this rifle is that it's got a 16-inch barrel, but it has a 12-inch handguard. Okay, it's got a 12-inch handguard that's got lots of holes in it, so it's really light. So because it's a short handguard with lots of holes in it, it really lightens up the front end. So you got the benefit of a 16-inch barrel, but because of the lighter handguard, it ends up being lighter. So I'm shooting it with the holosun 510C. And the Vortex 6X magnifier. Now, the red dot, when you magnify it, is big, all right? So when you put the red dot on the bullseye here, it's bigger than the bullseye. So what I did with this, it has a 50-yard zero. What I did is I anchored my red dot just underneath the bullseye, right? So I was touching my red dot to the top, to the bottom of the bullseye. So that's what got me up there, right? Because obviously, if you got a 50-yard zero and you put your dot over here, it's going to impact someplace a little higher up. So the reason why I'm that close to the bullseye is because my red dot was actually down here, okay, and I'm impacting higher up over there. So really happy with this, right? I'm going to take this out to 200 yards. I got to see how this does at 200 yards, but as just a standard way of measuring it, I mean, 100 yards. I'm inside of a half inch with this match grade ammo. Very, very happy with this gun. I was hoping to get inside of 1 inch. I didn't know if I was gonna get close to half an inch. I mean, and these are the first shots. These are the only 3 shots I have shot with this gun today. I mean, I shot it at 50 yards, right? Shot at 50 yards, got my zero, and then from there, these are the first 3 shots I took at 100 yards. And I mean, look at that group, inside of a half inch. So I'm gonna also do another video. I'm gonna shoot this out to 200 yards, and we'll see how it holds out there. Talk to y'all soon. All right, guys, I took that Radical out to 200 yards. I shot 2 groups of 3, so a total of 6 shots, 3 apiece. All right, there's the rifle, Radical Firearms, 16-inch barrel. So the first grouping I did was the 3 circles here, right? The ones I got circled. 1, 2, 3. I mean, not the worst in the world, but I know I can do better. All right, total of 3 inches. The only reason why I say I know I can do better is because I shot the half-inch group earlier. Okay, so then I took another 3 shots, and that's these here without the circles. 1, 2, and then 3 over here, and a total of 2 1/4 inches, which is not terrible. I mean, now the issue, why didn't I do better? The difficulty with this, right, is I'm using a combat sight, right? I'm using this the holosun 510C, okay, which basically is a 2 MOA circle with this. I'm sorry, a 2 MOA dot with the 65 MOA circle. So and behind it I got the 6X magnifier, right? So when I'm looking at this, right, that 2 MOA dot looks like a freaking orange, about that big. Okay, and what I'm doing is I have my bullseye at the top of the paper on purpose, because what I'm doing is I'm taking my dot and I'm basically trying to anchor right underneath it. And even though the 2MOA dot looks pretty crisp when you're looking at it, you know, in 1x or even in 3x, when you're at 6x, it does start to get a little bit fuzzy. Okay, so it is a little bit hard to tell exactly where the edge is that's going to make a contact with that. The bottom ends up someplace around right here. So that's the bottom. So the bullets are impacting at the bottom of my 2MOA dot. Okay, and here's the thing: because it's a little bit fuzzy, it is a little hard to like keep it perfectly centered and keep it like, you know, it's hard to get a perfect aiming point. If I put the the holosun 503G with the ACSS, which has that chevron, where I had that infinitely fine aiming point, these groups probably would have been, better on a more consistent basis, right? I probably, I would have done even better. Even at this, even though this isn't terrible, I would have done better if I had the ACSS chevron with that fine aiming point to put underneath it. But the benefit of this is you got that big window. So this is a lot easier to work with. Let's say if you're moving and shooting, right? Because I can be moving forward and shooting, and you know, it's a lot easier to track the dot. So this is a great combat optic, and with the 6x magnifier, it will easily get you out to 200 yards, and obviously you can get way beyond that, because if I'm hitting two and a quarter inches here, you know, I mean, I'm going to get decent accuracy all the way out to 500 yards. And the key to making this work is the 77 grain match grade bullets. I've had this rifle. I'm gonna tell you guys a story behind this rifle. I've had this rifle for some time. I just, you know, I've just never. I mean, it's even though I've been shooting for many years, I really never got into the 77 grain match grade bullets until recently. So I've done accuracy tests on this where I'm getting like, you know, 2 MOA, 2.5 MOA, but it's not until recently where I'm like, okay, let's try and run match grade ammo through everything and see what we can get. And so right now, this is the third rifle that I have that shoots a 1/2 inch at 100 yards. It shoots a 1/2 MOA. The first one that I hit it with was the Ruger MPR. Okay, the second one was the Palmetto 223 Wild. Now both of those are 18-inch barrels. The nice thing about this one, right, from Radical, this is a 16-inch barrel. So I'm getting the 1/2 MOA group on a 16-inch barrel. And let me tell you, especially as I'm, you know, moving around the woods over here, right, you know, with the rifle slung over my back, it is a lot easier to move around the woods with a lot more comfortable. And it's just, I mean, just that tiny, those 2 extra inches, they make such a difference, you know, as far as just, you know, just when you're moving around over uneven ground, right? You can see there's rocks and all sorts of stuff over here. So this is very uneven ground to be moving around over here. Let me tell you guys real quick the story behind this rifle. This rifle is actually a replacement for the rifle that I had before this from Radical. I completely shot out the barrel at 22,000 rounds. Okay, you guys should look up the video on that. Look up 22,000 rounds. Radical Firearms 22,000 rounds barrel shot out or something like that. It should come up. So the original that I had bought, which was my first Radical, again, I used it as a training rifle for training people. I had that for about 4 years, completely shot out the rifling on that. The bullets were keyholing. Radical Firearms has a lifetime warranty, okay? First of all, they had been supporting me all along in terms of like when the trigger groups wore out, because these trigger groups and these ARs, they're only rated for about 5,000 rounds. I usually get about 8,000 to 10,000 rounds, but in the 22,000 rounds, I went through 3 trigger groups and 3 bolts. Okay, something broke in the bolt 3 times. Extractor broke. The gas rings broke. So they kept replacing. They kept honoring their warranty and giving me free replacement parts all through that. And finally, when it got to 22,000 rounds, they replaced the entire rifle. Like they told me to send it in, right? So I sent it. They gave me a prepaid shipping label. I sent it into them. I did a whole video on this, right? Sent it into them, and what they did is they kept the the lower receiver, right? That's the only part, the lower receiver and the grip, because when I originally bought it, it had a nice grip. So they sent it back with the original grip, since that was nicer than what they were, the replacements that they would have sent it, that they would have shipped it out with. So the only part that's original here is the lower receiver with the serial number and the grip. Every other part on this rifle was replaced free under their lifetime warranty. Okay. So let me tell you guys, I mean, Radical Firearms, a half-inch group at 100 yards, lifetime warranty that basically they've actually done it. I shot out the barrel. They didn't try to tell me that, I overused it or anything like that. And they had told me early on. They had told me in the earlier years when I was wearing out the trig groups, they said, hey, if you ever shoot out that rifle, if you ever shoot out that barrel, we want you to know that that's also covered under the lifetime warranty. I'm like, oh yeah, really? Okay, cool. I'll take you guys up on that. And sure enough, when I shot it out, they replaced it for me. So a great company. So now this is the third rifle that I own that has shot a half-inch group, and this one's the first 16-inch barrel. The other two are 18-inch barrels. Let me tell you, budget rifle, Radical Firearms, right? The other one that did it was the Ruger MPR. The other one was the Palmetto 223 Wild. These are all budget economy rifles. That these aren't like the Gucci name brands, right? And they will do the work. They will get you those groups. So there it is, guys. That was at the 200 yards, right there. 2¼ inches. And I know if I put an ACSS reticle, or even one of the, if I put on a scope that has just a finer aiming point, like the 1 to 8 variable scopes I have on it, that group's gonna get even better. But I'm very satisfied with the half-inch group that I got on this. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon.